Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And just another shout out to everybody who helped with We Are the Fledge on Saturday. It was a 15-hour marathon. We went straight the whole time, and I couldn't have done it without all of the fledglings who helped me out and everybody making donations and all the performers. So, again, thank you very, very much. And you'll be getting more official thank you notes throughout the week. I've got to go through a couple hundred of them, so we'll get it done. So today I'm sitting in the sanctuary at the Fledge, and I've got my headphones on as usual, got brown hair, brown eyes. I'm wearing a shirt today that's going to be a little controversial. It says riots on it, and I've just, I heard a lot of news coming out of Minneapolis this week. I think that we're going to see a lot of protests this weekend, and I hope that the things can stay peaceful, that nobody gets hurt. But I also want to say, we got to do what we got to do sometimes to get our voice heard, and it's probably going to happen. And let's think about it. Support our Black and brown and poor people that are being oppressed all the time and all of that. So not a lot of politics today, because I want to bring our new friend Preston on the screen. How you doing, Preston?
How you doing, Jerry? Congratulations again on your fundraiser.
Oh, thank you. I'm pretty happy with the results. We got there. I mean, we didn't get all the way there, but we got far enough to have great momentum. So thank you, Preston.
That is wonderful.
So what you been up to today?
Well, about 5'4", but I'm hoping for a growth spurt. It hasn't happened. I ask for it for Christmas every year, but just living life, trying to be happy, trying to spread joy. But as far as I'm, like I said, I'm 5'4". How do we say this? Hair follically challenged, I guess, is what they tell me. Let's see. I'm well, thanks to COVID, I've gained 31 pounds. So I. Not only am I a new man, I'm a man and a half now. But other than that, I'm just trying to live life, spread joy. The COVID has been really hard on the stand-up comedy community, but I've been doing like web presentations and such like that, much like this.
Yeah.
Just living life, spreading joy, trying to stay out of trouble.
So, let's talk about you a little bit before we get into the stand-up. Tell us where you were born and raised and went to school and stuff like that.
Well, I was actually born in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't quite remember that time because I was young at the time. But then I moved to Grand Rapids, and then I lived most of my life in Grand Rapids, and then Kalamazoo, and then I reached my goal, and I now live in Lansing.
Lansing was your goal?
Yeah, Lansing was my goal. Much like my height, I have got short goals. So, it's like...
I imagine a 7-year-old Preston saying, when I grow up, I want to live in Lansing.
That's right. Well, see, I graduated, actually, high school with our governor.
Okay.
So, this is about as close as to Lansing I'm going to get. I mean, she got the governor's mansion, and I got a townhouse on the south side. But, it's competition. She's winning.
So I grew up in a townhouse on the south side over on Hague Road.
Okay. I'm on Miller. So
you're on Miller?
Yeah.
All right. But near Hague Road in those townhouses?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Those are my stomping grounds, and actually in the 90s, Grand Rapids was my stomping grounds too. I lived on the corner of Wealthy and Benjamin.
Okay.
On the east side there, right by Easttown, or the East Grand Rapids.
I loved Easttown. Well, I went through there recently. Well, I lived in Heritage Hills for a while. Back when it was cool and all the hipster college kids lived there. Now I can't even afford to drive through there. Mm-hmm. They're just like, get out of here. Yeah. Went to look at my old apartment, and Yeah, they're just like, no, who are you, transient? Go away. I'm like, I used to live here. Well, not now. We've justified. Go away.
I lived in Heritage Hill for my first year when I first moved there. Just like next to that big track. I think it's Lions or something like that.
Okay, the community college there. Track.
Yeah.
I wasn't that far away. It's not far away. So, yeah, those were good times. I barely remember them, but that was a different time. Things were a little hazy.
So you said Atlanta, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, then Lansing?
Then Lansing, yeah.
What'd you do in Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo?
Ever since I started on Kalamazoo, I actually moved to Kalamazoo for a woman, and I was a manager of a pizza restaurant, which taught me tolerance and really helped me work on my sense of humor, because being a manager of a pizza restaurant is not easy.
I imagine not.
Yeah, I would rather, I don't know, do anything than get back into food service. I used to love pizza. I don't love pizza so much anymore, but so I became a manager of a pizza restaurant, and then then I became self-employed after that. I'm a sign maker, but that's for another time.
Okay.
Signs, like lit signs. I was actually homeless for a while, so that was interesting. Kalamazoo's not a bad place to be homeless in. I mean, sometimes. But then I worked myself back up, and this is it goes back to the sense of humor and overcoming diversity with humor. If I didn't have a sense of humor, I wouldn't have survived. Life has been rough, but I'm happy now. And so what else did I just say? I worked at a restaurant. I'm self-employed. And I think I've been basically self-employed for like the last 15 years.
Okay. Were you in theater or something?
Oh, yes, I was. I actually did, It's been so long now. I actually toured doing children's theater. The benefit of having this Muppet voice and the short stature is that I could play teenagers well into my 30s, and I did. So I toured doing children's theater in Grand Rapids, Ohio, and Indiana. That was fun, And then this started to happen, and they're like, "No, you can't play a teenager anymore." I'm like, "I'll wear a wig right now. You can't do that." So I did theater. And I even have IMDb credits. I've done some movies and some commercials, and I remember I did a commercial for Davenport College. And I thought, that's great. Yeah, I played the guy who didn't go to Davenport. I'm the guy like, would you like some, want me to pump the gas? Like,
yeah.
Why can't I get the good parts? Okay, whenever they need we need some dropout loser, we'll call Preston, So, but yeah, I mean, I did go to college in Grand Rapids or Grand Valley, but that's basically my life in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, homelessness.
Yes.
That, they're in Lansing here. 55% of our population lives below the ALICE threshold, which is, a flat tire, your brakes, your hot water heater, anything going out and causing you an extra expense can make you miss your mortgage payment or your rent payment or whatever bills or utilities. So 55% of us are basically on the cusp of being homeless at any given time. How long were you homeless?
At two different times. Let's see. I would for months. Luckily, at one point, my parents took pity on me, not so much just to give me shelter, but to give me one of my sister's used cars, and that actually was my place of residence for a while. And I take that back. I did after the pizza place. I worked for McDonald's, and I literally lived in my car and worked at McDonald's in Kalamazoo, which was rough. But then I started making signs in my then ex-wife's garage. She was kind enough to give me space, and sold a couple various signs which got me enough money to get my own apartment, which meant that I was able to work in the apartment. So, had I not had a sense of perseverance and sense of humor, I don't know what I would have done. I would have just given up.
Yeah.
I plugged along. I think that's the root of my sense of humor is that's how you deal with adversity or stress, because the alternative is just inconceivable.
Yeah.
And that's also how I deal with, and you'll find out this is a common thing with comedians, is that you find a lot of comedians are also have depression. And that's how a lot of comedians deal with their depression. In fact, ironically, I find I write my funniest stuff when I'm in a depression spiral. So I don't need to get all deep, but that's just that's the nature of the beast.
If we go way back to like the Greeks and theater and tragedies and comedies, there was, tragedy and comedy were right there. You needed them both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you find a lot of your jokes start with tragedy and then end with the comedy?
I'm trying to think of a perfect example off the top of my head. Going back to not having a lot of money, there was a time, in fact, not too long ago, where the vehicle that I drove was an old beat-up Jeep Grand Cherokee. And instead of being embarrassed by it, I would make jokes about it. Like I would call it my four-wheel drive birth control. Because no woman wants to get with the guy who drives that Jeep. And there's a time where I rode my bike everywhere because I couldn't afford to drive a car. I didn't have a car. And so I'd make jokes about that. That, of course, was my two-wheel birth control. Not
up in Heritage Hill, it might have been looked at as hipster, though. So
yeah, there you go. Well, hipster now is how I live my life, and probably you as well in the Heritage Hill. It's like people just trying to be like us. Well, what they don't realize is that, we were poor college students. We didn't want to live like this. We had no choice. It's like that's why I get amused at the hipsters who are idealizing, my 20s.
Yeah.
And we were dreaming of being executives or just having enough money to live and pay our rent. So, well, more power to you if you want to. Think that's wonderful, but that's great. Me, on the other hand, I prefer to pay my bills and eat,
Yeah.
But,
well, we've been minimalists for a long time then. We can say it that way.
Yeah. But we're good at it.
Yeah.
It makes us appreciate what we do have, and also makes us want to help others. And I know, because I've been so up and down, now I have my own business. I like the car I drive now. But again, I came up from basically having nothing at one point, homeless, living in my car. That makes me more sensitive and empathetic to those less fortunate.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, and society is against you. It's like a vicious cycle. To get gainful employment, you need a permanent address, but you need money to get a permanent address, and it's rough. And that brings me back full circle why I'm such a fan of the Fledge and what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Outreach. And I was aware of the Fledge when I still lived in Kalamazoo because my significant other, Amanda, who's a fangirl of yours, told me about the Fledge. And she's like, because she got to know me and what she calls my hippy dippy ways. And she's like, oh man, she goes, there's a place in Lansing that I'm going to have to tell you all about and show you or whatever. And this guy, Jerry. And I'm like, all right, cool. So when I, in my description, when I said I'm a fan of all things Fledge, I am. So.
Well, thank you very much. So I have a guess, but why'd you move to Lansing?
Well, I moved to Lansing, one, because I love the area. I actually did a show, oh gosh, I'm dating myself now, about 24 years ago at the Riverwalk there. I did Rocky Horror Show.
Okay.
And I was living in Grand Rapids at the time and commuting. And after a while, I just didn't commute. I just crashed here for the whole run of the show. And I kind of fell in love with the town. But yeah, the other answer is that Amanda's from here.
Yeah.
And this is where our townhouse was. But I like the comedy community around here. It's just starting to start back up again.
Yeah.
But I love this place. I love Old Town. You know, I love the whole community. It's nice.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you're here. Let's talk about your projects. What are you doing with comedy? What are you trying to do? Do you have anything coming up or anything we can like promote even?
Let me see. You would have to ask me that. That's the one thing that I'm not really into self-promotion, which is probably why I'm not a famous comedian by now. I'm like, I do comedy, but I don't promote myself. Yeah, I have something. Oh, I can't remember. It's so embarrassing because it's May 5th, and it's a venue in Grand Rapids, and I am so embarrassed I can't remember the name of the venue right now. That's so bad. I just had a set at the Garage Bar in Grand Rapids. But in general, comedy has been pretty much stagnant in person since this COVID thing. I'm kind of stalling for time because I'm trying to remember the name of the venue. Oh, well, epic fail there.
You got a lot of posts recently, so I can't find it on your Facebook page right now. But I see you at the Garage Bar there. But anyways, maybe it'll come back to us or come back to you.
I'm hoping to get in the Crunchies here in town.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been in touch with them, but so hopefully in May I'll be at Crunchies.
Do you know the local comedians? Well,
I do. I do. Louis Michaels, friend of mine. I am in Kalamazoo. Yeah, the whole. What do they call them? Their little house that they have there, a little commune of comedians. You know, I love all those guys. Yeah. Himself.
Every month we used to have the sad trombone comedy show.
Okay.
And it was like, oh man, I'm gonna like Will Green and Nick Ladorf and those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can't wait till comedy starts back up again and we're able to open again. I guess comedy never shut down. The venues shut down, right?
Yeah, the venues shut down. So yeah, that. I heard there's a community place, in Lansing there, Fledge. I can't remember the name of it now. It used to have comedians. I wouldn't mind going in there and doing some comedy and maybe raising some money for you guys.
All right. Well, we'll figure that out later.
That's my shameless plug, because if I'm going to promote anything, it's me. So
what? I don't know the right question. Like, how do you want to talk about your comedy?
Well, I can actually. I actually kind of have a mission statement and kind of a general philosophy about my comedy. Due to my past life experience and stuff, I chose to use my comedy to, and I want to get this just right because I didn't want to stammer, so I actually wrote it down. It says I use my comedy to bridge diversity, form a common union, and face adversity with insight and humor. And by that, an example would be even though I identify as your stereotypical middle-aged cis white guy, I am also a very vocal ally for the LGBTQIA+ community. I'm also I use my humor to deal with the subject matter of bullying. I'm strong anti-bullying, and also to relieve the stigma of like people suffering from depression.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically general adversity in people who are normally excluded from society.
Yeah,
and that's where I choose to use my humor to lift those people up or to draw attention, to things like that. So
depression's
Mhm.
depression. It's been so tough on people in the last year and couple months with COVID, with people losing the connections that they have and being able to at least know that they can go somewhere and feel a little bit better or feel safe. And I think we both should probably shout out to everybody. If you need someone to talk to, call me. You can find my phone number on the Fledge's website in a million places. But connection is the opposite of everything bad. Addiction, depression.
It's also important to point out that, because people are very surprised to find out that I and a lot of other comedians have depression. They're like, but you're so funny, you're so up all the time. And that also that shows an example that even funny people can have depression. That it's not just something for the stereotypical emo, that or people. Because a lot of people think of people with depression as like Eeyore. I'm like, no, that's not it. Everyone can have depression. Everyone can struggle with that, and there's ways of overcoming it. And just because I am a funny person or see humor in life does not mean that if I can have depression and embrace it and be vocal about it, then no one else should be ashamed of it either. And ways of overcoming it.
I think in the last year we've done 3 memorials for suicide at the Fledge, and at all 3 of them, the common thing that everybody was saying is, I didn't even know they were depressed. They were so happy all the time. And that persona that we get so good at hiding from everybody. Yeah. And it's okay to be vulnerable, guys. It's okay to show that, it's just your strength will come out of being vulnerable. And there's a lot of great people in this world that aren't going to bully you for it or be shitty about it.
Right.
So
and that's why someone used my humor to highlight that, and instead of just sweeping it under the rug or making fun of it, say, hey, if I can be depressed, anyone can be depressed. There shouldn't be a stigma with it.
That's right. So what's something you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
I'm very much like an outreach type person. Even though I don't have the venues right now, they're coming back. I try to bring joy to as many people as I possibly can. Now, another thing you may not know about me is I'm actually an introvert. So I go above and out of my count. I know a comedian who's an introvert. Mm-hmm. It happens. He's right here. So I go out of my way to go out and about. And if I don't make 5 people laugh a day, then I haven't fulfilled my mission. Whether it be interactions when I'm at the store or talking to somebody, to put a smile on their face. I'm not happy unless I can make somebody else, even if it's for a brief moment, feel better and realize that that life is not, bad things in life are only temporary.
Yeah. So. I think that people get the meaning of introvert wrong very often. They think it's whether you're outgoing or you keep to yourself. And really, an introvert is somebody who doesn't need the external world to affirm them. And so you probably get a lot of your satisfaction. Oh, I felt good about that. Even maybe if the crowd doesn't always laugh or the crowd doesn't always, it's something that's important to you. So you probably keep going with it, I
always say that the loudest noise that I can hear on stage is silence. But having done theater for 35 years, I was taught to block out the audience, don't cross the 4th wall. So it's kind of an adjustment. I don't hear laughter, but I hear silence. But yeah, so that was but yeah, so basically my mission is to bring joy to no matter how few, but how many people I can. I'm not happy unless I make at least 5 people laugh a day.
I think that's a spectacular goal. Mm-hmm. See if I can make.
Even if I don't feel like it. There are days when I don't feel like it, but I do it anyway.
I'm gonna try to make 5 people laugh today after the show.
Fantastic.
See if I can do it. I probably have to fall down the steps or something, but
Oh no! Wow, don't do that.
trip up, drop something on my head.
Yeah, but
Like
that's a ha ha ha. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, my crowd likes watching me get hurt, I think.
Oh, nice.
So.
Nice. You might want to change up your crowd there, Jerry. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a bunch of skateboarders, so we've been laughing at
there
each
you
other
go.
for years.
Well, that's a badge of honor. I mean, it's like, oh, you didn't break any bones? Well, you're not a skater.
Yeah, that's right. So we daisy chained the show together. And yesterday on the show, we had Jordan Munster from High Caliber Karting out in the Meridian Mall.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're radically inclusive. We have no rules. We say values, not rules. So I really encourage my guests to come up with something tricky. So, or that I hadn't heard of before. And so his question to you is, what sound does a giraffe make?
I wouldn't know. That's way over my head. I don't know.
Is that your joke?
It's the best I got. I reached for it. Didn't quite get it, but I reached for it.
So what he told me, and I didn't do the research, this is how misinformation gets spread, but that giraffes don't actually make any noise, that they don't have a voice, I guess. But what he loved about the question was whoever answered it, they would have to guess, and they would just have to make that some noise, and it just makes him laugh that he could make somebody make a noise, I guess. So I'm going to have to Google about the giraffe thing. I do not claim to have any facts in this show at all.
That's a shame that they don't have a voice. We should have a movement for them. We need to give giraffes a voice. They don't have a voice. They're oppressed. They're an oppressed animal. I did not know this until now. Now I'm going to have to go start some sort of campaign or something. Give giraffes a voice. I mean,
I'm not sure he's right. There's a lot of audio, video stuff here, like they hum at night or something. So, nocturnal humming.
Oh my goodness.
So, all right. So you get to ask somebody tomorrow a question. What question would you like to ask Katie Pickett? And I think she's bringing a couple other members of her company on. They started the Hive Hair Studio during COVID, and they're making it work. What question would you like to ask her or them?
The question I would ask her is, in general, how do you let down a guy like me that may want a mohawk? Because I'm bald, for those who can't see.
I got to ask you the same question, So, what, a bald guy who wants a mohawk? Yeah. Are you getting me in trouble here? Am I supposed to call you follically challenged or something like that?
You're oppressing me, Jerry. It's follically challenged. No, my question, my solution is I just have a Sharpie. Sharpies do everything, so,
Oh, so you wouldn't let him down? You shave the rest of your head and do a Sharpie?
Yeah, just to be like, yeah, there you go. There's a Sharpie. There you go. Knock yourself out.
Have you ever thought about, like, to save money, to just get a hair transplant or whatever right there and have the mohawk? And
a little rubber cement and some Muppet fur.
Yeah.
That's my goal. That's my goal. The surgery where I can just, push these two together. Maybe, I have the little survivors. They're trying to survive. I shaved them though, but they're like, well, we're trying really hard. But I'm like, yeah, no, so it doesn't work. Well, what's funny is I used to have your hair, Jerry. And I think that's what it is. I'm a little bitter, Jerry, with your big full head of hair and your Beachy's hair. I don't know, Jerry.
Bee Gees hair?
No, I used to have big flowing PG hair, but I guess I was a child of the '80s, so like moose is bad. I wish someone had told me before I put in the manic panic hair coloring and the flock of seagulls hair I used to sport that is bad. But
So,
go ahead.
flock of seagulls. Okay, here's some serendipity. I move into Heritage Hill. I unpack my trailer or whatever. I think it was my last carload or something.
Okay.
And I say, I'm going out. I'm going to find a bar around here. I asked somebody on the street. They said, go to the intersection in Easttown. So I go to when it used to be in Easttown, and I go go to the intersection, and the cover charge is $20. And I'm like, I just wanted to have a drink. I said, well, I thought this was just like a bar. And they said, well, tonight we have a show. And I said, $20. Who is it? And they pointed up to the stage and they said, it's the Flock of Seagulls. So I saw them at the intersection the first night I ever lived in Grand Rapids.
Wow.
So that was awesome.
What year was that?
That was in 93.
Oh, 93. Okay, the We Need the Money tour. Gotcha.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Do you know they're bald now?
Are they?
Seriously, that's not a joke. Flock of Seagulls. They actually just recently put on an album with an orchestra. They're still singing the same songs. They still sound the same, but they're bald, all of them. Which is my theory that, hair gel, mousse, Aquanet, you're going to pay for it middle age. I'm telling you.
Maybe they're benchmarking with Devo or something. Weren't Devo bald?
I happen to like Devo, by the way.
I like Devo's great.
I'm all about the Devo. Yeah.
So, we talked about depression. So this question, I actually don't think it's going to be that difficult. But what is happiness to you, and are you happy?
Well, happiness is subjective, but yes, I am happy. I am happy. Happiness, first off, is not material things. I learned that early on. When you don't have any material things, you learn to be happy. Happiness to me is family. Happiness to me is friends. Happiness to me is just sharing feelings and joy with one another. Just having somebody just to have a discussion with, like my partner, Amanda. She has I guess you could say I inherited, so to speak, a 14-year-old gender neutral young person who I just absolutely adore. Yeah. And to me, that's happiness. I went without a family for so long. I never had kids. My ex-wife would say that I was a kid. So it wasn't so much a divorce as it was she put me up for adoption. But I have a family, and that's happiness to me. And I have found happiness. I also find happiness making other people, laugh, which is my mission. Is also kind of selfish because to make other people laugh, to bring joy to somebody else, brings me joy as well.
Yeah, we. I think. I had Bob Hoffman last week from Epiphany Now on the show.
I saw that one.
And, he said, kindness is a drug, right? And when you spread it, you get high from it and other people get high from it. And it's, I think that joy can be like that as well, Right. Is it possible to be happy and depressed at the same time?
Yes, it is. Ironically, I write some of my best stuff in a depression spiral. So, that's a tough one. It's possible to find happiness, however temporary. A person can be happy and depressed at the same time. Looking at it from another perspective, someone who may appear happy or may having a good time in the moment could be in the middle of a depression spiral.
Yeah.
So, yes, the answer is yes. That makes
Thank you.
sense. You're welcome.
What gives you hope?
What gives me hope? Oh my goodness. I don't want to get too political, but I kind of like the life is different now than it was, say a year ago. That gives me hope. That's about as far as I'm going to go. As a comedian who's not going to tackle, tackle politics, that's kind of rare. Gives me hope. I have hope despite people not wanting to wear masks and stuff. I have hope that we will see the end of this COVID thing. I have hope that people will embrace kindness again. That is my hope. And whatever I have to do to contribute to that, I will.
Yeah. So Lansing politics, I don't want to take you way down there, but it seems to me like we're already getting right back into 2 camps or maybe 3 camps, 4 camps right now.
Right.
It's gonna get ugly. And it's just, I wish we had better choices.
Yeah.
Or a different government.
That is true. Well, I mean, as far as there are two thoughts. There's the wear masks, isolate 6 feet, and then there's the other train of thought. Well, no, that's infringing on my freedoms, and it's like I'm of the first camp. Social distance, look out for your fellow man, wear your mask. Dilemma I've had is I've been recently vaccinated, both doses. And so now I'm disciplining myself to keep my mask on. In fact, my partner Amanda is always like, just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you're bulletproof. Keep your mask on. And I'm like, okay. That's where the childish Preston comes in. Like, I don't wanna. So, but yeah, it's rough. But I'm hoping that this is over soon. People listen. People aren't starting to listen because I think the numbers are going up here in Michigan now, aren't they?
We're one of the worst places in the country and maybe even the world. So 9 of the top 10 hotspots in the country are in Michigan right now.
Well, look at us having goals.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So what would you like to take us out with?
Well, along with the happiness, I'll describe a little bit of my happiness. The fact that having been single for quite a while, I finally found a partner and who basically has everything I've ever looked for in a partner, like a subscription to Hulu, subscription to Netflix, Paramount Plus. So, she has everything. I naturally had to be with her. The only thing she doesn't have is she doesn't have HBO Max, but no one's perfect.
They run specials on that for a free month from time to time, right?
I don't know, but I don't know if I mentioned, I'm middle-aged. I'm 50, almost 52. My partner is younger than me. She's 38. And you would think that as the relationship progressed, you have to meet the parents. Now, at 52 years old, I never imagined I'd have to meet the parents at this age. At 52 years old, my idea of meeting the parents is going to the nursing home, saying, "Hi, Mrs. Smith. Sorry, your daughter's with a starving comedian. Sorry. Oh, and by the way, you're gonna finish that Jell-O there." But I actually met the parents, and I'll keep this brief so that way you don't fall asleep. When I met the parents, first off, I'm 5'4". Her dad is 6'6". He looks like he could eat me in one go. Well, pre-COVID weight, 31 pounds ago. But the mom, though, she was a different story. When I met her mom, the first thing she said to me, she said, you realize that there's 14 years difference between my daughter and you. I'm like, yes. She goes, and there's only 8 years difference between you and I. And I was a little flummoxed. I had to look her in the eye and said, well, unless you have HBO Max, I think I can stick with your daughter. So. And that's what I'm going out with.
All right. I love it.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, Preston. I can't wait to see you on the stage sometime here at the Fledge. And I appreciate you being in Lansing, and tell Amanda we said hello. And yeah. All right, everyone. There's another episode of Every Damn Day. That was episode 219. So 146 left to go. And I'll be here again tomorrow, as always, every damn day, 2 p.m. Every damn day. So we will see you later. See you, Preston. Thank you very much. Yeah. Bye-bye.